You might remember that in 2022, a super-hit psychological supernatural horror movie came out called Smile. Recently, its sequel has been released called Smile 2. This movie is just as interesting and brutal, meaning you'll really enjoy watching it. Currently, Smile 2 has a rating of 7.2 stars out of 10, but this could change. Overall, the movie is really good. And hey, if you're new to the channel or watching the video for the first time, or even if you forgot to subscribe, please subscribe. Now, without any delay, let's dive straight into the video. The story begins 6 days after Rose's death, where the smile curse has now passed on to Joel. He's desperately trying to transfer the curse to someone else. As you know, a person only gets 6 to 7 days to live under this curse, some don't even last 4 days. Joel comes up with an idea. He'll find 2 criminals, kill one, and make the other witness the scene so the curse transfers to them. He successfully kills one criminal, but the other starts a shootout. In the chaos, Joel accidentally kills him, leaving him devastated as his plan fails. But Joel gets lucky. A drug dealer named Louis, who had been watching everything secretly, appears. He was there to pick up some goods. Joel realizes that his plan finally worked. The curse will now transfer to Louis. As Joel tries to escape, more gangsters start shooting at him. He tries to run through the back window but gets hit by a truck and dies. His body shatters into pieces with blood and body parts forming the signature smile, representing the curse and the entity. This marks the true beginning of the movie, as the previous characters are now gone. The most terrifying part is that even if you break the curse or pass it on, nothing good happens to you. In the last movie, the person who transferred the curse ended up in jail, and now Joel lost his life despite trying to escape. Anyway, the story now shifts to a new character, Sky Riley, a Grammy-winning, infamous pop star. She's making a comeback on a celebrity talk show after recovering from substance abuse. She had become addicted to drugs with her boyfriend, Paul Hudson. One day, during their world tour, they went on a long drive, got into a car crash, and Paul died. Sky suffered serious injuries, spent a year in the hospital, and finally overcame her addiction. She's now back in her career, thanking her mom Elizabeth, her assistant Joshua, and her fans for their love and support, which helped her escape the darkness of her past. But wait, the movie is called Smile, which means even with her heavenly comeback, hellish fate is lurking around the corner. We see Sky practicing for her upcoming project, struggling with some dance steps. She takes a break and goes to the restroom, where she notices surgery marks on her bag and her stomach. She starts feeling unbearable back pain, which tempts her to take drugs again. Just as she's about to consume a tablet, her mom knocks on the door, causing her to drop it in fear. Now, she's left with no drugs. Elizabeth and Joshua drop Sky at her hotel, but her pain worsens. On the way, she texts Louis asking to meet. They drop her off, and she immediately grabs a taxi to Louis' house. Louis opens the door, looking terrified, crazy, and restless. He aggressively points a sword at her, demanding to know why she's there. She tells him he texted her to come, but shockingly, Louis denies sending any message. That's when we understand. The message was sent by the entity itself to lure Sky into its trap for its next victim. After all, this entity needs a new victim every 6 days, and Sky just walked into her worst nightmare. He was still very scared. He couldn't even leave the house and had gone completely mad. Sky waited outside, but when he didn't come out for a long time, she went to check on him. Suddenly, he ran out of the room, terrified. He was looking up at something and was extremely scared, but Sky couldn't see anything. However, we understand that he was seeing the entity, which was now completing its final step and entering his body. Sky was just trying to help him, when suddenly, he became fully possessed and started smiling in a creepy way. She got a little scared, and then, still smiling, he picked up a 15 kilograms weight plate and kept hitting his own face with it over and over again until his face was completely destroyed. Everything on his face was wiped out, but the smile was still stuck on his broken, blood-covered face. This was how the curse shifted to Sky, and that's why the entity had lured her there. Sky got really disturbed by everything and tried to call 911, but there was a dead body, drugs, and her history with drugs, so she could get into big trouble, ruining her comeback. Out of fear, she ran away from there, went home, tried to calm herself down, drank some water, and took a bath. Her hair started falling out, which stressed her even more. After a while, she went to sleep, but she started hearing strange noises at night. She got up, looked around, but didn't see anything, meaning the curse had already started affecting her. Now we know her next 6 to 7 days were going to be terrifying. The next day, she was on set, looking very disturbed. Her mom, Elizabeth, noticed her stress and told her to contact her best friend Gemma, with whom she had a fallout a year ago. Just then, an old friend of Sky came to invite her as a guest at a charity event, which she happily accepted. The next day, we see her doing photo shoots for her new projects, wearing different costumes. But while changing one costume, she felt uncomfortable. After finishing the shoot, she went to her cabin, still haunted by the memory of Louis' horrific death. She thought about calling Gemma, but at that moment she received a text from an unknown number, asking if she was at Louis' apartment the night he died. This message terrified her because it meant someone knew she was there when Louis died. Her anxiety kept increasing, and then, she started hearing the same strange noises from the night before. She looked around but saw nothing. But when she looked in the mirror, she saw Louis standing behind her. She got terrified, started shaking, and Louis forcefully pulled her lips into a twisted smile with his fingers. She screamed, and her mom rushed in, but everything looked normal again, as always. Sky made up an excuse, saying she saw a spider, which is why she screamed. She refused to wear the dress that showed her large surgery scar, but her mom tried to calm her down and lighten her mood. Later, Sky completed her project, and after that, she attended a fan meet event where fans took autographs and clicked pictures with her. But then, a creepy guy showed up, took an autograph, clicked a picture, and started touching her inappropriately, saying weird things. The security guards threw him out, and Sky calmed herself down to continue the event. Then, a little girl came to meet her, but the girl had a very creepy smile that made Sky super uncomfortable. That evening, Sky went home feeling disturbed, her hair falling out even more. She finally decided to call Gemma, apologize to her, and told her she really needed her. Gemma promised to come within 45 minutes. Sky tried to relax, drank water, played the piano, and sang a song. But suddenly, her glass water bottle fell off the table and shattered on its own. She panicked, checked her main door, and found it locked, which gave her a little relief. She grabbed a mop to clean the glass shards, but then she heard more strange noises and noticed a t-shirt lying on the floor. It was the same t-shirt the creepy guy at the fan meet had worn, the one Sky had signed. She gave an autograph, and when she looked ahead, she saw all the man's clothes on the floor, including his innerwear. When she looked around the room, the man was standing naked in front of her. Suddenly, the room lights turned off by themselves, and the man aggressively ran toward her. To escape, she ran to the main door and opened it, where she found Gemma outside. She called Gemma inside, picked up a lamp, and went to deal with the man. But then she noticed that the glass bottle was perfectly placed on the table, and there were no clothes on the floor. That meant everything she saw was just her hallucination. She talked to Gemma, who asked her what was bothering her. She apologized and thanked Gemma, then asked how she arrived so quickly. Gemma replied, "Quickly? You called me an hour ago." Sky was shocked because for her only a few minutes had passed. Still, she composed herself and started telling Gemma about her nightmares and the strange things happening to her. She told her about Louis, who had ended his life in front of her, and now his smiling face haunted her everywhere. She asked Gemma what she should do. Gemma comforted her and said she would stay with her for the night. They both went to sleep, but in the middle of the night, Sky had a nightmare about her accident. She woke up terrified, and Gemma asked what happened. Sky told her she felt extremely disturbed, that she knew everything was her fault, and her mind was filled with chaos and noise. She felt trapped in darkness and didn't know how to escape it. Sky, shocked, asked her what she just said, but Gemma didn't reply. She just gave a creepy smile. Sky got really scared, and when she looked at Gemma's face, she started seeing visions of her accident. Terrified, she finally woke up and saw that Gemma wasn't even there. Just then, Gemma came back from outside with coffee, and Sky realized it was already morning, even though it felt like it was night just moments ago. Gemma told her she had to leave, and although Sky wanted her to stay, she knew she had to prepare for her tour. Her mom had already come to pick her up. Later, she went to the dance shoot for her tour, but suddenly, she fell and saw her legs broken. She screamed in pain, and everyone rushed to help her. But when she looked again, her legs were completely fine. She yelled, asking who pushed her, but the director said no one even came near her. Disturbed, she returned to her makeup room. That's when she saw Joshua outside the room, giving her a creepy smile. Scared, she rushed inside, and the entire makeup room. Everything was destroyed, and the whole place was a mess. Things were broken, and chaos was everywhere. Sky went outside and angrily shouted at Joshua, asking why he did all this. But Joshua said he didn't do anything. Just then, Elizabeth told her that Joshua was with her the whole time and never came there. She even asked Sky if she had started taking drugs again. Sky denied it and said she hadn't taken any drugs, which was true. Elizabeth tried to calm her down because they had to go to a charity event soon, where her friend had invited her. But Sky refused, saying she wasn't even ready for her tour. Her mom explained that she needed this tour and that no one hated her, everyone loved her. She also reminded Sky that she had promised to attend the charity event, and it would be good for her before the tour. In the evening, Sky went on tour and messaged Gemma backstage. But then she got another text from an unknown number, saying they knew she was pop singer Sky Riley. This made her more anxious because it confirmed that someone had seen her with Louis that day. Just before going on stage, a fly kept bothering her, and while trying to shoo it away, she ruined her lipstick. On stage, she was supposed to read a speech from the teleprompter, but it suddenly stopped working. She started speaking on her own but began saying random, irrelevant things, like she never wanted to be a singer. Her friend and others started looking at her strangely, and she felt extremely embarrassed. When the teleprompter started working again, she read the next guest's name, Paul Hudson. She froze because Paul was her boyfriend, who had died in the accident right in front of her. Panicked, she screamed, asking why his name was there. The audience was shocked, wondering why she was shouting Paul's name. But then, shockingly, Paul appeared in the crowd, walking toward the stage with the same creepy smile. Sky started trembling and kept saying, "Paul is dead, he's not alive, this is a lie." An old lady standing behind her tried to calm her down, but Sky, seeing Paul instead, pushed her hard. The old lady fell and got badly injured. The event was ruined, her name was tarnished, and she went home completely distressed. But then she started receiving more texts from the unknown number, saying she was in serious danger and needed help urgently. When Sky texted back, asking who they were, they replied that what she was seeing wasn't her imagination, it was all real. The unknown person sent her a video of Louis, explaining that he had checked Louis's phone after his death and found Sky's last message, which led him to her. He told her that what she was experiencing was a curse. This curse passed from person to person like a parasite, feeding on their trauma, fear, and bad memories. When it had fed enough, it possessed its victim and made them die in front of someone else so the curse could pass on. He explained that the curse had come to Sky from Louis, who got it from Joel, who had received it from his ex-girlfriend Rose, a doctor. Rose got it from her patient, and the curse had even taken her brother's life. The man said he had been tracking the curse since the first case appeared in Brazil. His brother had tried to tell him what was happening, but he thought his brother was crazy. Until one day, his brother tore his own jaw off and died. He warned Sky that the curse worked like a leech, feeding on victims' pain, and she was next. Sky didn't fully believe him, but she also knew she needed help because the haunting was getting worse. Before the victim hurts themselves in front of someone, if they end their life, the curse won't pass on, and if it doesn't pass on, it will die without a host. Hearing this, Sky gets furious because the man was talking about killing her. But he explains that he's a nurse and not talking about killing her, he just wants to stop her heart for a while. As soon as the curse leaves her, he'll revive her heart, but obviously Sky isn't ready for this. Why would she trust a stranger? Meanwhile, people start recognizing her, and fearing headlines about her meeting Morris or rumors of a new boyfriend, she leaves the place. She returns to her hotel room, turns on all the lights, and starts packing. But suddenly, her back hurts terribly, and out of frustration, she throws things around. After calming down, she steps outside and sees her backup dancers staring at her with that creepy smile. Slowly, they start approaching her. She tries to escape, but they catch her and do horrifying things, pulling her hair and putting their hands in her mouth. The screen goes black with her screams. We flash back to the accident night. Sky and Paul, under the influence of drugs, start fighting, and in anger, she jerks the steering wheel, causing the accident that killed Paul. In reality, Sky always saw this scene in her nightmares. She constantly felt guilty for Paul's death. She wakes up in a wellness retreat, her mother sitting in front of her, telling her she was in a coma. Her mother insists that nothing happened and it was all in Sky's mind, but Sky refuses to believe her. Sky decides to cancel her tour to stop the curse, but her mother gets angry, saying canceling will ruin her career and waste all the time and money invested in it. Sky, frustrated, yells that if her mother could feel what's inside her mind, she'd understand. Suddenly, Elizabeth gives a creepy smile and, in a demonic voice, says she's tested Sky's mind. Then, Elizabeth breaks a mirror, takes a glass shard, slashes her neck, and gouges out her own eyes, horrifying Sky, who runs out. But at the door, Sky sees the glass shard in her hand and her mother dead on the floor, meaning Sky killed her mother. But the entity made it seem like her mother did it herself. Devastated, Sky finally decides to end the curse. She changes clothes, escapes with a security guard's gun, and meets Gemma outside. Sky drives away, and Gemma insists on staying with her. On the way, Sky asks Morris for the address where they can break the curse. But Sky suddenly tells Gemma to leave, as she doesn't want to hurt anyone else. Just then, Sky gets a call from Gemma, the real Gemma, who never met Sky that night. The Gemma with Sky is actually the entity, who laughs and taunts Sky, saying no one loves her and she's completely alone. But Sky regains control of her mind, and the fake Gemma disappears. Sky finally reaches Morris, who takes her to an abandoned Pizza Hut with a freezer that can temporarily freeze her brain. He explains the process. She'll get an injection to stop her heart, and once the curse leaves, they'll revive her heart. While Morris steps out, Sky sees her evil doppelganger hanging on the ceiling, her evil self, representing her worst trauma. It attacks Sky, trying to enter her body, but Sky, taking control, cuts off the entity's hand and injects herself with the drug to stop her heart. The entity pretends to cry but then laughs, revealing it was all a trick. Sky never actually injected herself. The entity locks Sky in a closet, which opens to reveal her world tour's first day on stage. The audience cheers, her mother and director are alive, and everything looks normal. But as Sky looks around, a massive, skinless, smiling demon emerges, the real entity. It tears Sky's mouth open and enters her body, while the people around her remain unaware. Just like in the first movie, the entity takes full control of Sky. She smiles that same creepy smile, shoves a mic into her eye, and ends her life in front of thousands of people. The curse, once passed victim to victim, now spreads to the entire crowd. The entity realized people might discover how to break the curse, so it shifted to infecting large crowds at once. And now the deadly cycle of the Smile entity will continue forever. Boom! That's how Smile 2 ends. If you liked the story, hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Did you like Smile 1 or Smile 2 more? And don't forget to watch Smile 1, or this movie won't make sense. Link in the description and pinned comment. See you in the next video.